Hey everyone, I'm back with an Epstein update. Today I'll cover Elon Musk, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, film director Mira Nair, and former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. I'll also give updates on those I covered in my previous episodes. Starting with Elon Musk. Recent releases of documents from the U.S. Department of Justice in early 2026, stemming from investigations into Jeffrey Epstein, have shed new light on communications between Elon Musk and the convicted sex offender. These files include emails from 2012 and 2013 that appear to show Musk expressing interest in visiting Epstein's private Caribbean island, Little St. James, which has been linked to allegations of sexual abuse. The interactions contradict Musk's prior public statements that he had refused invitations to the island and had only minimal contact with Epstein. In November 2012, Musk emailed Epstein asking, "What day and/or night will be the wildest party on your island?" This was in the context of coordinating a potential visit while Musk was in nearby St. Bart's with his then-wife, Tallulah Riley. Epstein responded by offering to arrange a helicopter transfer to the island and inquired about the number of people in Musk's party. Musk replied that it would be just him and Riley. Additional correspondence in late 2013 shows continued discussions about a possible visit, including holiday-related plans in the Caribbean. The files also reference Epstein visiting Musk's SpaceX facility in California during this period, though details are limited. It's unclear from the documents if Musk ever actually visited the island or attended any events there. Musk has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein, and appearances in the files do not imply illegal activity. These exchanges occurred years after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting prostitution from a minor, which raises questions about why Musk engaged with him at all. Musk has addressed the revelations on X, stating he had very little correspondence with Epstein, declined repeated invitations to the island or his Lolita Express jet, and anticipated being smeared by the disclosures. He has called the releases performative without leading to arrests and emphasized the need for prosecutions of those involved in Epstein's crimes. Beyond the 2026 files, other public information points to intermittent links. A 2011 photo shows Musk with Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell at a Vanity Fair event, though Musk has said she photobombed him. In 2023, Musk was subpoenaed by the U.S. Virgin Islands in litigation related to Epstein's activities. Older reports mention Epstein introducing Musk to potential investors, including Saudi contracts in 2018, and attending events at SpaceX in 2009. A 2025 file release referenced a potential 2014 invitation to Musk for the island, which he denied accepting. Overall, while the documents reveal a more extensive and friendly correspondence than Musk previously acknowledged, they do not substantiate claims of direct participation in Epstein's illegal activities. Investigations into Epstein's network remain ongoing, with calls from various parties, including Musk, for full transparency and accountability. Next up is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Recent releases of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, particularly under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, have included references to Hakeem Jeffries, and these primarily stem from a single 2013 email uncovered in the files, which has been highlighted in political disputes. Unlike cases involving more direct or repeated interactions, such as emails about visits or events, Jeffries' connection appears limited to this one instance of campaign-related outreach. He has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing, and no evidence has emerged of personal meetings, donations received, travel on Epstein's planes, or visits to his properties. In May 2013, 5 years after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting prostitution from a minor, a political consulting firm, Dynamic SRG, working with Jeffries' campaign, sent an email to Epstein. The message promoted Jeffries as one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation and Brooklyn's Barack, inviting Epstein to get involved, specifically mentioning a potential fundraising dinner or private meeting to support Democratic efforts to build a House majority. The email was part of broader Democratic fundraising outreach and was not authored or sent directly by Jeffries himself. There is no record in federal campaign finance data of Epstein making any donation to Jeffries or his committees in response. No documents indicate Epstein replied, attended any event, or had further contact related to Jeffries. This email surfaced in batches released by the House Oversight Committee and DOJ in November 2025 amid partisan debates over the Epstein files. Jeffries has repeatedly and emphatically denied any personal involvement or knowledge. He stated he has no recollection of the email, has never had a conversation with Epstein, never met him, and knows nothing about him beyond his convictions. He accused House Oversight Chairman James Comer of being a stone-cold liar for claiming Jeffries personally solicited money, sat down with Epstein, or received contributions, assertions not supported by the documents. Jeffries has instead focused on pushing for full transparency in the Epstein files, criticizing delays and redactions by the DOJ, and calling for accountability for survivors. On to the next. Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent that died in 2022, is described in FBI reports as an intermediary who recruited young girls through modeling agencies for Epstein and associates. He's alleged to have used fronts to traffic minors, and no new charges have been filed as he died in custody. Let's dig deeper into this, as you may find his death eerie at the least. Brunel was a longtime associate and alleged key facilitator in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. He died by suicide in a Paris jail in February 2022 while awaiting trial on charges of rape of minors over 15 and sexual harassment in France, charges stemming from allegations of procuring young girls for Epstein and others. The January 30th DOJ Epstein files release provides further evidence of his role, including photos, emails, FBI memos, and victim statements labeling him a suspected co-conspirator. No new charges were possible due to his death, but the files reinforce prior accusations from victims like Virginia Giuffre, who claimed Brunel abused her and trafficked others. FBI interview summaries and internal DOJ documents describe Brunel as an Epstein co-conspirator who used his modeling agencies as fronts to recruit underage girls, often from Eastern Europe and South America, promising modeling careers but delivering them into Epstein's orbit for sexual exploitation. A 2019 FBI diagram of Epstein's inner circle includes Brunel's photo alongside Ghislaine Maxwell's, Epstein's accountant, and assistants, with Brunel flagged as a suspected co-conspirator. Victims alleged he trafficked girls as young as 12 to the U.S. for Epstein's friends. A November 2021 email from an unknown Epstein victim to the DOJ claimed Brunel was 100 times worse than Maxwell, accusing him of 40 years of international trafficking. She alleged he raped and abused girls with Epstein's complicity. Another harrowing survivor account in the files describes being impregnated, possibly by Epstein, delivering a baby that was taken by Epstein and Maxwell, with Brunel involved in the abuse leading up to it. Details include forced encounters and threats. Giuffre's prior testimony, reinforced in the files, claims Maxwell directed her to have sex with Brunel multiple times in various locations. A 2015 Epstein email notes Jean-Luc, redacted, 34 girls Wexner, implying Brunel supplied 34 girls to Les Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret and Epstein's former client. Wexner has denied knowledge of Epstein's crimes. The files include emails showing casual, ongoing contact post-Epstein's 2008 conviction, and in 2013, Epstein emailed Brunel about Tommy Mottola, the former Sony Music chairman and Mariah Carey's ex, aiming to become Cuba's entertainment czar, suggesting a meeting with a pastrana, possibly a fixer. Another 2009 email chain discusses creating a fashion trust and monetizing ventures like Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue and Victoria's Secret fashion show, framing them as Pirelli-inspired calendars done right. A disturbing 2009 email shows Epstein forwarding a link from Heaven 666, a defunct shock site known for gore and extreme content, to Brunel, commenting, "I like them." Then to Maxwell, or Gmax. Dozens of images depict Brunel with Epstein and Maxwell on Epstein's private jet, at his properties, and in social settings. One undated photo shows film director Brett Ratner hugging a shirtless Brunel, and flight logs from earlier releases confirm Brunel's frequent travel on Epstein's plane. Post-Epstein's 2019 arrest, DOJ emails show attempts to contact 10 co-conspirators, including Brunel, and a 2019 FBI list names him among 8 suspects, most redacted except him and Maxwell. French authorities arrested him in 2020 based partly on U.S. tips. Brunel was never indicted in the U.S., but files indicate he was under investigation for trafficking, and his death halted proceedings. Brunel denied all allegations before his death, claiming any interactions were professional. The files emphasize his centrality in Epstein's post-conviction network, but many details are redacted for victim privacy or ongoing matters. Mira Nair, the mother of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, is all over X right now for her involvement, which was a one-time social appearance in Epstein's orbit via Maxwell's hosting. Her involvement is limited to a single reference in a 2009 email with no allegations of criminal activity, abuse, or direct association with Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operations. The email lists attendees, including Bill Clinton, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and Nair herself. The email suggests Nair was present as the film's director, likely for promotional reasons, but does not imply any deeper ties. Her name does not appear elsewhere in the millions of pages, videos, or images released. There are no flight logs, guest lists, or witness statements linking her to Epstein's properties or his criminal activities. It's worth noting that this is the only time Jeff Bezos appears in the Epstein files as well. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon is last on our list for today. The files released show email exchanges between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein post-conviction, including banter about politics and requests for social meetups like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These ties were known to some extent from earlier reports and 2025 document dumps, and the latest files provide more depth, showing a chummier dynamic through hundreds of texts and emails exchanged in 2018 and 2019 after Bannon's departure from the Trump White House. The communications covered a wide range of topics, including politics, business, geopolitics, and personal banter, and they speculated on events like the anonymous 2018 New York Times op-ed criticizing Trump, discussed Bannon's We Build the Wall campaign, and touched on the Mueller investigation into Russian election interference. Epstein often referenced his properties and offered them to Bannon, joking that he was acting as Bannon's most highly paid travel agent in history, but adding, massages not included. The tone was familiar and included locker room humor, such as Epstein making sexual jokes in response to Bannon's comments. In November and December 2018, emails show Epstein arranged for Bannon and his son Sean to receive matching Hermes Apple watches, valued at $1,499 each at the time. An assistant emailed, Jeffrey will give to Steve when he sees him next, and a January 2019 follow-up confirmed, Steve has been given his Apple Watch. The duo frequently mocked Trump, with Epstein calling him a re-grifter and Bannon referring to him as a stable genius who was out of gas. Bannon credited himself for influencing Trump's 2018 China tariffs, and in a June 28, 2019 text, just a week before Epstein's arrest, Epstein wrote to Bannon, "Now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends." Bannon responded, "Dangerous." They also discussed European politics, including Bannon's meeting with French National Front leaders, where Epstein claimed their funding came largely from Russia and described them as idiots. Bannon repeatedly requested Epstein's private plane for travel, with one instance being on March 29, 2019. Bannon asked, "Is it possible to get your plane here to collect me?" referring to a pickup in Rome. They planned frequent meals and get-togethers, with Epstein offering accommodations multiple times. Bannon played a key role in Epstein's attempted reputation rehabilitation, and in 2018, Bannon texted, "I'd like to do a documentary on the real story," to which Epstein replied, "Yes, great idea." Bannon filmed hours of interviews with Epstein, coaching him on media appearances and discussing filmmakers. The project was described as a potential hagiography, a glorifying biography, to counter a Netflix docuseries like Filthy Rich. On July 6, 2019, the day of Epstein's arrest, they texted about filming on Epstein's island, with Bannon asking, "If we can arrange it, can we film on the island?" To which Epstein said yes, and later proposing an 11 a.m. start. Bannon's final unanswered message that day was, "You are not coming in?" The documentary was never released. A 2020 FBI memo notes a witness was hesitant to discuss Bannon's relationship with Epstein due to Bannon's connections to powerful people, but no further details emerged. Bannon has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing related to Epstein's sex trafficking activities, and the interactions appear to be social, professional, and advisory in nature. Now it's time to do an update on new information that has come out since my previous episodes, which covered Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, Sarah Ferguson, formerly the Duchess of York, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and Donald Trump. There is no new information on Sarah Ferguson or Donald Trump, and I don't expect there to be any new information on Sarah Ferguson. There is more information about the others, though, so let's start with the man formerly known as Prince Andrew. On February 1st of 2026, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer urged Andrew to testify before the U.S. Congress about his Epstein connections, emphasizing a victim-centered approach. He stated that cooperation is important and that Andrew should explain his dealings in whatever form requested. Brad Edwards, a lawyer representing survivors, spoke to BBC and others, reiterating claims that a second woman, then in her 20s and non-British, was allegedly sent by Epstein to the UK for a sexual encounter with Andrew at Royal Lodge in 2010, followed by a Buckingham Palace tour. This allegation surfaced in coverage from the prior release but gained renewed traction in the latest reporting. Newspaper front pages and analysis have focused on the photos from the files showing Andrew appearing to kneel or on all fours over an unidentified female. Headlines include calls for Andrew to reveal all or face extradition and/or testimony pressure, and some speculate the Metropolitan Police might face renewed calls to reopen investigations. As for the update on Bill Clinton, more photos have been uncovered, most of which are undated, grainy, or from older contexts, and no new wrongdoing has been alleged. One photo of note is that of Clinton posing alongside Epstein, Mick Jagger, and other figures. There are emails and communications involving Clinton's staff, not necessarily Clinton directly, with Epstein or Maxwell, including some described as sometimes lewd exchanges. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche appeared on CNN on February 1st, downplaying the likelihood of additional prosecutions from the files, noting that photos and emails alone don't necessarily enable charges. There are ongoing political angles, such as the House voting to hold the Clintons in contempt for rebuffing a subpoena in a bipartisan Epstein probe. Melinda French Gates, in a February 3rd NPR Wildcard podcast interview, addressed the new details that emerged regarding Bill Gates, saying they resurfaced very, very painful memories from her marriage. She stated Bill Gates needs to answer questions about the allegations and emphasized she's so happy to be away from all the muck. She expressed hope for justice for Epstein's victims and noted personal difficulty of revisiting details involving young women. Now it's time to place these people into categories for a fun little recap based on my opinion only. In the sex predator category, we have Jean-Luc Brunel. In the gross backstabber category, we have Steve Bannon. In the innocent but judge your connections a little harsher category, we have Elon Musk and Mira Nair. And in the innocent person caught in the crossfire category, we have Hakeem Jeffries. Future episodes will cover Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, British politician Peter Mandelson, New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch, filmmaker Woody Allen, Supreme Court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, Edgar Madison Welch and Pizzagate, Rihanna, Jay-Z, Obama, Tom Hanks, Jeb Bush, former U.S. Attorney William Barr, Michael Jackson, TMZ founder Harvey Levin, Madonna, Lady Gaga, Hillary Clinton, Stacey Plaskett, John Podesta, Michael Wolff, and Mick Jagger. Of course, just because I've listed these people does not mean I'm accusing them of wrongdoing. If I've left a name off of this list that you think should be covered, please let me know in the comments wherever you follow me. Have a great day!